What's going on, you guys? This is Zach here. Welcome back to another album review. And yeah, this time I'm going to conclude the Breaking Benjamin discography reviews. Yes. And today we are looking at Dark Before Dawn. This is it. This is their latest album. Came out 2015. Now, when these guys were first coming back with a new album, because these guys have kind of Breaking Benjamin has been on a hiatus since like 2011, but they released their last album in 2009, I believe. But yeah, and then they went on a hiatus, and we were waiting for a return for Breaking Benjamin, but now they finally came back, and I gotta say, it's great. It's really great. But that isn't to say that this is an amazing album. It's got a total of 12 tracks, 10 are which are official songs. So, yeah, and the very first track is Dark. Now, when Breaking Benjamin was first teasing that they were coming back, this was the first little snippet that we ever heard from the album, when they were first teasing the album. It's just an intro. I think the last time a Breaking Benjamin album had an intro was on Phobia. And with that said, this album is kind of good because it kind of does give me vibes of Phobia here and there. Not as good as Phobia, but still not bad. And then it goes right into Failure, which I'd like to consider my favorite track on the record. It's a very good song. I think it's a appropriate first song on the album. It's very catchy. This here was actually the first single they've released, and the very beginning of this song, like the guitar note at the beginning, it's outstanding. Like, it sounds like Breaking Benjamin. Like, when I first heard the very first guitar note, I was like, you know who this is. Yeah, Failure is a very good song. The track after that is Angels Fall. It's an okay track, not really one of my favorites, but my biggest problem with it is it sounds too mediocre. Like, it sounds like any other rock song that you've ever heard before. But it's still not a terrible song. It's good for what it is. The song after that is Breaking the Silence. I can't listen nor think of this song anymore after what somebody said about that song. They said it was the heaviest thing they've listen to. And honestly, if you want to listen to something heavy, why are you going to Breaking Benjamin? You should go to something like Meshuggah. If you want something heavy, Breaking Benjamin is not your cup of tea, but it's for the hardcore fanboys. Breaking the Silence is not heavy compared to a lot of real metal songs out there. But yeah, I think that's my biggest problem with it is, I said the same, I'm going to say the same thing I said about, Believe off the, We Are Not Alone review. Breaking the Silence feels too metal influenced, and Breaking Benjamin wasn't really meant for metal. But yeah, with that said, Breaking the Silence is probably my least favorite off the record. After that, we got Hollow. This here is actually a really good track. I think it's one of my favorites. It starts off with kind of mellow, and then it picks up. And this is a good example of a track that reminds me of something I've heard from Phobia. So it's definitely a good track. The bridge, good. Chorus, good, of course. The track after that is Close to Heaven. This here's another really good song. This here actually gives me there's actually a point in this song that reminds me of Saturate. It's like near the bridge area, it has like some kind of drumming. That really reminded me a lot of something I've heard from Saturate. But yeah, very good chorus. Ben's vocals, of course, on that track are good. They're probably the best on that track. Out of the entire album, I think his vocals are the best on that track. Skipping a track ahead, we get to Never Again. It's also a really good song. They recently made this one a single, and I don't know about you guys, but this one here I don't think deserves to be a single. I think it would only be good if it was just an album song. Like, if it would just stayed on the album, it would have been good. I just don't understand why they made this one a single. And honestly, another single was not really necessary, because I felt like they made a lot of singles from this record. It seems a bit much, but whatever. Never Again's is a good song nonetheless. You know, the guitar work, of course, Breaking Benjamin does great with guitar work. You know, a lot of great stuff in that track. Next up, I'm going to skip track 9 and skip right over to Ashes of Eden. Also a very good song, kind of reminds me of a song that Red has done. It's more of a ballad type song. The only Breaking Benjamin song I can really compare this to is the hidden track on Saturate, which is Forever. Because this song is more of a ballad, and it's definitely one of my favorites. This is another one where Ben's vocals really shine. A lot of unique instrument work in that track too. Very good. I'm honestly glad that they made that one a single as well. And the track after that is Defeated. Now this is the very last song on the album. Not really appropriate for the very last song. It's not as good as the last song from their last album, Dear Agony, which is Without You. I thought that was a better, last song. Defeated, not so much. I mean, it would be good if it was like, in the center of the album. I don't think it's appropriate for the end of the album, but it's whatever. If I were Breaking Benjamin, I would actually made Ashes of Eden the very last track. That would have been appropriate. If they would have reversed that, switch that around, that'd be great. And then it goes into the outro, which is Dawn. It's very smooth, kind of calm, kind of atmospheric in a way. Dawn is a good track. Even though there's no vocals to it or anything, it's just an outro. But yeah, really wraps it up very well. That's my review for Dark Before Dawn by Breaking Benjamin. It's a good album, but I think it's a bit overrated. And that's my biggest problem with it. Now, this is a good album. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great. But this album came out in 2015, and there were a lot of good albums that came out in 2015. So another problem I had with this album was it paled in comparison to a lot of albums that came out that year, like Reds of Beauty and Rage, Soilworks, The Ride Majestic, Knives Anxiety, August Burns Red, Found in Faraway Places. Yeah, there were a lot of albums that came out that year. This one here kind of pales in comparison with those, but still not bad. It does kind of get me a little, kind of blows a fuse in my head a little bit. I can't understand why people just go crazy over this album. When I listened to this album, because I was a big Breaking Benjamin fan, way more than when before this album came out. I was a really big fan during the Dear Agony days, and then when I heard about this album, I was like, that's cool. Breaking Benjamin's returning. Yeah, nice. I'll give it a listen. And when I was done listening to this, I didn't go, oh yeah. Oh, I'm really glad I listened to that. I am glad I listened to it though. But I didn't jump up and down, when I heard it. Seems a bit overrated. But it's not a bad album overall. It's probably my third favorite Breaking Benjamin album. Second would be Saturate, and of course number 1 is Phobia. That's my top favorite. But Dark Before Dawn, it's an okay. It's pretty good. Great return for Breaking Benjamin. It kind of, there are some things in this album that give me vibes of Saturate and Phobia, and that's what really makes this album great as well. And yeah, if you like hard rock, you need to check out this album. You shouldn't be disappointed. And if you are a fan of Breaking Benjamin and for some reason you haven't checked it out yet, you gotta check it out because you need to keep up to date with Breaking Benjamin's newer albums. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me guys what you think of this album. See you all later.